Okay, so we'll get started. Compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law. I wish to state that on August the 21st, 2015, the notice of this meeting of the Upper Township Committee was posted on the official Township Bulletin Board, mailed to the Cape May County Gazette, the Atlantic City Press, the Ocean City Sentinel Ledger, the Herald Times, and filed with the Township Clerk. Tonight's meeting is being video recorded up until the closed session portion of this meeting and will be available on UTTV Channel 97 and on the Upper Township website. I hereby direct that this announcement made a part of the minutes of this meeting. I would ask all to rise for the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Barbara, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Coggins?
Here.
Mr. Pearson?
Here.
Mr. Young?
Here.
Mayor Colombo?
Here.
All members are present.
Okay, would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the regular session, August the 10th, 2015, and the closed session minutes?
Motion to approve. Second.
Is there any corrections, omissions, or deletions that anyone's aware of? Hearing none, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Colombo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. All in favor?
So before we go to the report of the governing body members, we're going to give a presentation tonight, and there are several representatives here, and we want to honor them for their contributions and assistance during the Upper Township annual 4th of July celebration. So I'll read the resolution. First, let me call up whoever's here in the list. Joshua Tozer, Gary Seabridge, Noah Keene, Alessa Jones, Andrew Lindholm, Anthony Lindholm, Victoria Marsden, and Carly Craig, and Keith McKinney. So I'll read the resolution. Would you pass out, please? I know that not everyone's here. Whereas the Cape May County Sheriff's Explorer Post 1692 participated in the Upper Township annual 4th of July celebration by providing traffic direction, security patrol, and general assistance as needed. The Explorers Post 1692 is a worksite-based program offering hands-on activities for young men and women ages 14 to 19 who are interested in careers in the field of law enforcement. Whereas the Explorers of Post 1692 have participated in various community events, including the Cape May County 4-H Fair, the County Park and Zoo events, community parades, and have also assisted with crime prevention programs such as McGriff, the Crime Dog, and Eddie Eagle for gun safety. It is appropriate that on behalf of the citizens of Upper Township, we recognize and honor these explorers, and that we also recognize and thank Officer Eric Tizenfitz, is that right? And Officer Andrew Ranazisi, who have given their service and assistance along with the explorers to help keep the 4th of July celebration a safe and enjoyable experience for the Upper Township community. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Committee on behalf of the citizens of the Township of Upper to extend to the Cape May County Sheriff's Explorer Post 1692 recognition on their commitment to community safety during the Upper Township 4th of July celebration, and to the officers a heartfelt thanks and gratitude for their time and service to the young people of this community. So thank you very much. We are going to have a picture. Come on up here. I'll get behind you.
Do you guys want to move up just a little bit more?
I think you want some of us better get behind you. So, would any of you like to at least tell us what your ambition is with law enforcement? No. Come on now, you have to have like loud voices when you're out there telling people. Come on.
Yeah, if I could though, yeah. My name's Hobie Young. I'm the one that ran the 4th of July And I just want to compliment everybody. I already told Andrew. I received nothing but compliments from all the people that were there about the way these young people handled themselves. They were courteous. They were so polite with everybody. They covered that field left and right all day long. They just did. I don't know how many miles they walked, but they walked a heck of a lot of miles. It shows that a great program, the Explorer program is. We hear so much negative about the kids in our county all the time. And these guys, did our heart good to see the hard work and dedications they're putting in the Lowell area. So we really appreciate it. And what you're doing is very special. So, thank you.
Thank you. Keep up the good work.
Absolutely.
You're all welcome to stay, but we're also giving you permission to go. We have other things to do. We thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Be safe.
So let's continue with the report from the governing body members. Barbara, do you have anything for us?
I just have one thing. I just wanted to remind everyone that the township offices will be closed for Labor Day, and our next meeting will be on Tuesday, September 8th.
Okay.
That's all. That's all I have.
Daniel?
Nothing at this time, but we do have a few contract negotiation and litigation matters for closed session.
Okay. Paul?
Thank you. The only thing I want to report on is and request a resolution to go out to bid for the paving at Amanda's Field. We had money from the grant program to extend some bike paths and do some final course paving there, as well as do some other ancillary paving in the township. So I'd like to get authorization to do a resolution at the next meeting to go out for bid for that work.
How about the refresher stand?
Everything's moving forward.
Do we need a resolution for that money or no?
No, we've already.
Okay.
So you need a motion to move forward?
You can do that, but he just needs
Just
authority.
direction.
Well, no, it's just, you're gonna go out and put the bids out now?
I just need authorization to go out to bid. So
Yeah,
we-
there should be a motion second to authorize you to go out to bid.
Motion to allow Paul to go out to bid on the paving at Amanda's.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Are there township matching funds required for this?
As far as the county grant program, the matching funds that the township was providing was the township labor to do a lot of the work out of Amanda's Field to install the improvements and stuff like that. As far as the paving, no, that was a standalone item, but the other items within the grant that we got, we're providing the labor to do the fencing, build the restrooms, and those other things.
So that was our offset
That-
to the grant money, okay.
Correct.
Got it.
All right.
Okay.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
And that's all I had this evening.
Okay. Ms. Barbara?
I just have one item. There is a government finance officers conference coming up next month in September. It's the September 16th to 18th. It's a Wednesday to a Friday in Atlantic City. I'd like permission to go over. It's going to be $425 for the 3 days, and I just renewed my finance certificate, so I'll be starting all over again with my continuing ed units for this one. So if you see fit, I would like to attend it.
To make a motion to authorize that?
Second. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Hagen?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Coggins?
I had the opportunity to attend the meeting for the reconstruction of the Seaville Bridge, and had a chance to speak with a gentleman by the name of Nick Lambert, who's the project manager from South State. I discussed with him a lot of the concerns that the people on Railroad Avenue have about the housekeeping and the condition of the staging site that they're using along Railroad Avenue. along with, some of the starting times and behavior. He did let me know that he was gonna do his best to get over there to try to make some improvements in the housekeeping, to clear out some of the millings that were left there. And he also assured me that as we go forward into the Corbin City Bridge project, that the Railroad Avenue site will not be used for storage of construction materials. That site will be cleaned up once the drainage project is complete.
It's interesting, I wonder where they're gonna stage their materials.
He wasn't specific as to where, but he did mention that he's been speaking with the landowner to either seek permission or a lease to use a parcel of land that would be up closer to the bridge, but I don't know where that is, Rich.
Okay. That's good information.
John, excuse me.
Yes.
Did they, in that meeting, did you have a chance to find out if there was any safety limitations put on the bridge for its use?
I did not.
Yeah, I wanted to make that meeting. I apologize, I couldn't make it at the last minute.
So you're concerned that they might limit the weight and that could be a problem with the fire trucks?
Yeah, I didn't see anything in the paper.
Yeah, I haven't seen
but,
anything either, but.
I'm always worried about that and the rescue rigs that have to go over there and,
It was less than a formal meeting. It was more of a, almost kind of a buffet where you could go up to the various engineering groups where the contractors were or was and talk to them one-on-one and have a little bit of a dialogue as opposed to a meeting where you were being spoon-fed information. So
okay. Well, perhaps, could you follow up on that? I didn't see anything.
I was there, there was no change in the weight limits.
Okay, good.
Or description of the project based on, from what we last discussed.
Okay.
They're still talking about, trying to get as much of the road work done in downtown Tuckahoe, before they institute like alternating one-way traffic across the bridge, controlled by a traffic signal. I know that the fire chief of Tuckahoe Fire did write a letter to the DOT requesting that during the summer month, which would be in 2016, that they institute a detour for and allow northbound traffic only over the bridge, and then all southbound traffic would have to follow a detour. They did make that request.
Okay.
But other than that, it's just as John said, it's kind of, they were looking for comments from the public, and that's really what, and to provide information to the public more on a one-on-one basis as opposed to a public meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Is that all?
that's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Young?
Amanda's Field, the Little League and the Babe Ruth Fields, the sod is down. We're doing final grading on that. Next step is to put the fencing back up, dugouts, and get the wires pulled for the lighting. We've also laid out and graded the third Little League field. The fourth is laid out, and we've also laid out 2 T-ball fields. I discussed with Paul just tonight about handicap swings for our playgrounds. There's only one playground that has handicap swings, and that's Cotwell Park. So I don't know where it wasn't addressed or why it wasn't addressed earlier, but I did have a phone call from someone that requested that we should have them on every playground. So it's something that, I've asked Paul to look into and see which way they go. I just want to make sure that, everybody was aware of what we're doing on that. The Fall Fest has been scheduled. Barb, they talked to you about the 18th. We're good?
Yes.
For October the 18th from 1 to 6. That'll be a lot of vendors and 3 to 4 bands playing. One of the other issues in discussions with the like soccer and possibly lacrosse is when we have these big tournaments, and they're lasting Saturday and into Sunday. They're getting quite large, and we even have teams coming as far away as like Georgia to come here and play. Our biggest problem in this township is we don't have hotel motel facilities or enough transient campgrounds to house the people overnight. So they're having to stay all the way up in Vineland, Millville, Pleasantville, and coming back over here. So somebody threw out an idea, and I'm just gonna throw it out for future. If we could look into the legalities or the liabilities of allowing them to camp out there overnight, if they so choose to, even if we charged a fee for it. Again, it comes into the fee ordinance. which I think would be a good idea in a way. It'd be great for all the area to keep these people in the township for that weekend and have them travel over Cape May and Cumberland County to get.
Has it ever been done before in other towns where they have a tournament?
That I
or
don't know.
someone
I mean, I look at
camps
this
out?
as similar being to the Boy Scouts saying.
Boy Scouts are set up to do it, I'm not sure if the sports teams are, that's the question.
Yeah, I mean, because.
I don't know, that's why I'm asking.
I mean, I think we would really have to, you know, as we consider this, we'd have to look at, you know, how would they feed themselves? Are they gonna have campfires? Are they gonna cook? Are they gonna, you know? If they're just sleeping there, I mean, obviously, we'd have to have porta potties and things of that nature, or at least leave the, you know, the concession stand with restrooms open, you know, quite a bit. You know, and trash, and, you know, I think all that will have to be looked at as to, you know, the overall expense to the township versus what we could potentially charge. I would be hesitant, if we started allowing, you know, portable, you know, cookware, you know, fire and that kind of stuff. You know, I think that could create some issues for us.
In discussing it with soccer a little bit, there would be no food or fires cooked, the refreshment stand would stay open. And again, it creates a bigger fundraiser for them during their tournament. So it basically would be a Saturday night deal, and they're out of there on Sunday. Some of them have motorhomes, so where they park in the back parking lot overnight. So it's just something we're looking at. They're really going out and generating a great tournament, and it's becoming, so it's very, very well known up and down the East Coast. So unfortunately, like I said, we just don't have the facilities for the parents coming from out of state. So if we can, in between now and the next month or two, if everybody just kind of put their heads together on it, come up with pros and cons or thoughts.
I would suggest that you start with Boy Scouts and troop leaders that have had experience with large organizations that have significant numbers of people that do that type of thing, and what logistical issues are involved, and what training they have for their folks. And
Well, I would also.
frankly, the township is not experienced in that field,
right.
and you have to really have someone investigate it.
And I would also suggest that we at least contact some of the neighbors that surround the field, because it's one thing to have a Boy Scout troop there July 4th, but if you have, you know, 100 or whatever it is, families there, you know, I'm sure that the neighbors would like to know from a security standpoint and that kind of thing. We're bringing in people that
Absolutely.
would not normally be there.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I think that would need to be looked at as well.
I look at it almost as it's a larger version of the Walk for Life, the Relay for Life. Because that's basically what they all do. They come there and they camp for the night. They walk and do whatever they're going to do. It'd just be a bigger version of it. So, again, just something to throw out there for future we can look into. One of the big things is, anybody that's been following the local news, is the A-Shore Babe Ruth team, which is a club team made up of kids from Cape May County, Atlantic County, won the World Series this past Saturday in Arkansas. They went 21-0 in tournament play. Quite the feat. They beat a team from Tri-Lakes or Tri-Falls, California. And two of our local kids, Brandon Latchley and Dom Monteleone, were on the teams. And both of them are standout athletes. And Brandon Latchley actually won the Defensive Player of the entire tournament, the Golden Glove Award. Also, Cole Vanderslice, Harry Vanderslice's son, won the Most Valuable Player for the tournament. This is just like the Little League World Series. This is a pretty big deal. And the first time we've ever had anything like that. I think the last one that won it was a team from Millville years ago. So, you know, I would like to bring the boys in, definitely the kids from our municipality. It's up to committee whether they would like to honor the entire team or not. Again, from Summers Point, EHT, like one kid was from Atlantic City. And, you know, like your opinion on that, what you would like to do, and then if we can get that set up to do resolutions.
Well, I think the accomplishment is unique enough that, you know, we could ask to see if we could get everyone in. You know, I would agree that at a minimum, we certainly should honor the Upper Township boys, and maybe even coordinate that with Ocean City as well. But I have no problem bringing them all in. You know, it's a unique thing, and I've been following it in the newspaper, and it's pretty exciting, and
Oh, yeah.
I happen to remember when Cole was born. Now he's gonna he's only gonna be a freshman in high school, and
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
kid, so
Yeah,
it's
these
pretty
are all
impressive.
14-year-old kids, just so everybody
And
knows.
I think it's they're officially affiliated, Babe Ruth, with the Upper Township baseball program. They have Babe Ruth teams. So I don't know if it's a club team. I think it's actually their all-star team.
I don't know if it is or not, because they took it from everywhere, and I'll
It's
find
their
that
all-star
out.
team. It's the league, the Atlantic Cape Babe Ruth League All-Star team that participated in I believe that's it. That's what it used to be.
I'll find out. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think it's a club team. It's not like
I
the
know
Sand
that
Sharks.
they had a parade yesterday, and unfortunately, nobody from our programs went there to honor these kids.
I'm only saying that because years ago, many years ago, I coached in that league, and it was part of Upper
Okay.
Township baseball.
Well, if it is, it's great, yeah.
So I would suggest that we reach out to the coach, and see the feasibility of trying to get everyone here, and it's gonna probably be difficult to try and arrange it by September. We could try.
That's what, Laura, that's up to you.
If not, maybe
That's why
October.
I wasn't sure time-wise with the resolutions, what we need, so, if
We'll
we
get
can
in
get
touch
them.
with them.
Let's get a feel for what the coach thinks about trying to get everybody here, and if we can't do that, then, maybe we can do Upper and see if we can get at least some of the folks, the boys from, Ocean City.
Okay, I know Harry would bring Cole over with no problem. And lastly, at Codwell Park this past week, we had the Upper Township, Ocean City, co-mingle practice / scrimmage with the kids, and they had a buffet or barbecue afterwards, and it was the Ocean City High School team, the Ocean City midget program along with Upper Townships. They did a 2-hour practice, and they had all the high school kids working with all the junior kid programs, and from what I understand, they had an absolute blast. And it's the second year that they've done it, and all the food was donated by parents. So feeding that many kids, especially growing football players, was probably pretty phenomenal, really. But a good job done by whoever put that together.
Good.
If anybody wants to see the aerial view from Amanda's Field,
No, I saw it already.
Jason Coos came over and took his drone and did a picture of the two fields from about 200 feet in the air. And it was quite impressive to take a look at it, but it's on the Facebook site and on baseball site.
I saw it, looks great.
So, that's it.
Mr. Barr,
No, not much to report on, just, want to run, Hobie's coattails here about Amanda's Field. I mean, it's looking great, it's coming along very well. And I think we're blessed to have some workers in our force that really know what they're doing when it comes to landscaping and building this facility. So they're really doing a good job out there. And like we keep saying, it's gonna be a state-of-the-art facility when it's done. And, take a walk out there, check it out, and you can see it all coming together. And, I just can't wait for the first night when those lights are on and the field's all lined and, you can hear the crack in the back. So, I think it's gonna be here before we know it. The only other thing is, Paul, I believe you sent out an email. They're gonna be paving Evergreen and Stagecoach.
The intersections.
Intersection? Yeah. So I think, what's that, Wednesday?
Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay, so, just to add that, that's what we were talking about earlier in the season, that, these streets are gonna get paved sooner or later, so, that's another intersection that I know that, everybody thought they were going down Burma Road when they went through that intersection. So, and Hope Corsa Road looks great.
Yeah, so any,
So I think, appreciate
any
it.
idea when they're gonna repave over the water pipes?
I did get some updates on that. They're actually the county, there's actually two different contracts that are gonna be working on that. The county is gonna be paving from Evergreen Drive up to Action Supply, an area that they did the drainage improvements on. That's gonna actually happen this Wednesday and Thursday of this week, which that's really some of the worst areas of the repairs. New Jersey American, they're gonna come in and do, I'll say, the areas in the Marmora section, where there is already water service, probably within the next 15 to 30 days. The latter section, as you move south down Stagecoach, they're looking at two options. They may want, instead of reopening the road to do house services, they may wait until the water tank is full and then make, you know, cause they've had several residents along Stagecoach Road already request water service, so that they don't have to reopen up, connections. I am gonna be talking to them about maybe trying to get the connections done ahead of time, or at least get them, you know, the curb stops off the street, so that they can get that done probably within the next 60 days.
Yeah, those areas are really dropping.
Yeah, they have crews that, you know, going out once a week and doing inspections and trying to level up areas that are getting too, you know, they get too much settlement in them.
Okay.
Speaking of the water tower, I didn't mean to cut in, Ed. Did we, communicate that we wanted to be a blue color and not anything darker than that?
Yes,
Okay. So that's what's gonna be, it'll be like a light blue?
probably a darker more like a navy type blue. Otherwise
Not
it-
black, right?
But not black, no.
Black was one of the options, we do not want a black tower, so.
They won't do a light blue on it, but that would kind of make
Well,
it
yeah, but
disappear except for the lettering.
the water tower itself is gonna be white,
Yeah.
so you don't, you know,
Okay.
if it's a lighter color, it's
Color
not,
with the
you're not
lettering.
gonna see it.
Right.
Okay.
So the water tower itself will be white, and then the lettering, you know, needs a contrasting color.
No, I thought you were talking about the whole water tower.
No, the whole water tower's gonna be white.
Good, that's it.
Assurance.
Anything else?
Well done.
Mr. Pearson?
Good evening, gentlemen. Real quick reminder of the Rabies Clinic, Saturday, October the 24th, 1 to 3 at the Shore Vets Hospital there. The road project that we talked about the last meeting, they did remove the tar pieces all over the road. However, they still haven't lined Old Tuckahoe Road in front of the firehouse down to Route 9, so I don't know when they're gonna do that. New ambulance has arrived, and Chief Potter's putting it into service as we speak. They work on it, trying to get it ready. He's hopefully within the next 2 weeks he'll get that up. And I've asked him if he does, if it's up and operational before the next meeting, if he would bring it down here like at 7 o'clock and have it so that people could see it on the way into the meeting, or, you know, you guys here could view it too. So we'll see if that'll happen. I think my biggest thanks was the Route 50 bridge meeting that I went to. And, of course, we did make an application or I shouldn't say we made an application, but we made a request for the state to come to us and do it in the township. And they elected not to use our facility. They elected to use Corbin City. I believe the venue, in my personal feeling is that the venue was done in that manner, in that purpose, so that the crowd could be kept to an absolute minimum, and you wouldn't have a lot of people trying to get in there and discuss the issues. It was a similar meeting that you went to, John, where you go in and it's a show and tell, and you ask questions. I was concerned about a lot of the things that they were talking about, and I did send you all a note that we should consider some things. One of the issues brought up by one of the township members, apparently on the Atlantic City Expressway had a sign up that says exit at the Millville exit to use Route 50 to the shore points. Well, brings the people right off the Atlantic City Expressway down into our backyard, and that's why our traffic has been so heavy.
Yeah, it says alternate route.
Yeah. So it should have been coordinated between ACE, who has their own separate entity, the Turnpike Authority in them. They should have coordinated with the DOT and had the people go down the Black Horse Pike and then go on to the Garden State Parkway south to the shore points. That was one thing that's created our traffic problem. Ed Carter, Chief Carter from Tuckahoe, he had a very big concern with the amount of traffic on the bridge. We do have it set up for two-way right now. He suggested highly that in the summertime we limit it to one-way, southbound only, and that through the electronic devices we could control that, and northbound only in the summertime, northbound only. Southbound would go out and follow the truck detour, pick up 49 and come into 50. Which made sense. It would take the pressure off the rescue squads and the fire trucks to get across the bridge faster, and with the controllers they could get back faster. The bridge, obviously, according to the papers and everything, they're gonna start work, some minor work in September, and staging and all that kind of stuff. But basically, the hard work will start in October, the way they're talking about it. We also discussed the number of controllers, for the emergency signals, and we came up with a suggested number of 14. And that was 9 for Tuckahoe Volunteer Fire Company and 4 for the rescue squad. And then I suggested a spare, so we should probably ask them to do something on that. There was a lot of angst with some of the public regarding the speed limit in the Tuckahoe area. I think it's posted at 30 miles an hour, and they want it reduced to 25 because the people are still screaming through there, as they're saying. One person wanted the heavy traffic, and I put Pleasure out. It's Mount Pleasant, I believe it is, where they're changing it to one-way. She wanted the truck traffic to go straight down Mount Pleasant, right off of Route 50. And from a standpoint of safety, the engineer there said that he didn't advise that. It should still go down to Marshall Avenue and then make the right in Marshall and then down to Mount Pleasant. But she really wanted that. And as I said in the bottom line, I'm sure that the road work will be completed, or I'm hoping the road work will be completed long before the project is. And once that road work is completed, a lot of our problems that we had this summer with the left turns, both coming from 49, right turns from 49 and left turns from 50, will be eliminated once that road's fully up. So I would suggest that we try to get a coordination letter to DOT and the Atlantic City Expressway to get them to talk to one another and not dump the people into Route 50. And I think we should ask them also to limit the speed on there to 25 miles an hour in the construction zone area, and ask them again for 15 automatic light changers, the controllers, and that kind of stuff. I think I hit all the points that they were looking at. Sure. Yeah, I think. The next item I had, the last item is safety meeting. We had a safety meeting on Thursday. It was fairly well attended. And you got the handout via the mail, our mail system. But there's a couple interesting things in there. The lost funding, we've gone from 4.33% down to a minus 5.33 in 5 years, I believe it is. That's a pretty big reduction. Lost time. For the last 150 days, we haven't had any lost time. So that's a really significantly good thing that our employees haven't lost a day of work. What do they call this? The lost time accident frequency. The average for the JIF is 1.8%, and we're at 0% because of the lost time that we have not had. Average reporting ratio, we're at 1.7 days in our township, and the average is 1.9 for JIF, so we're under the average. We've used 100% of our qualified transitional duty days compared to where only they've used 75% throughout the JIF. So we're safe, really applying the use of that transitional duty. So I think that the safety committee and the township employees should be commended for their hard work in trying to keep our city safe, basically, and their work safe. A few beach safety issues came up, and I asked Paul to send me the beach management plan from the state that we've agreed to live by. And I'm only looking at it from the safety standpoint. I'm not looking at it from any other standpoint. It's just a safety standpoint. And I don't want to discuss them at this meeting until I really get out there on the ground and see how the beach patrol really operates. There were some complaints. You had gotten some emails. I got some verbal complaints. It was brought up at the safety meeting, the beach patrol, possible too much vehicle use, etc. So before I make any
That's
commitment,
not an issue.
I want to go out there and look at it,
That's some personal individuals that have I don't think it's an issue. What I think is an issue is we have a lot of holes that have been dug, and we talked about this last week, that are not being filled in. They're very cognizant. There's only 2 vehicles that are being used from the beach patrol. One is their vehicle, and the other is the vehicle that the EMTs use. And, you know, every once in a while they have to patrol, every once in a while they have to drop things off. It's not an issue, and I'd be really upset if we start putting standards on telling and micromanaging how the lifeguards should do their job.
My only comeback to that, and I understand where you're coming from, but my biggest comeback is these birds. If there's one bird killed, it's a $25,000 fine.
And I
that's
don't
the biggest
argue
thing.
with that,
Yeah.
but if one person is not handled in the safety,
Oh,
what is more
yeah.
important, a
No.
human being or a bird?
Emergencies, you're allowed to do emergencies. It's just other things that they
Well,
may or may not be doing. So I just
I don't
wanna look
happen
at-
to think there's a problem, so I would like to be involved in that
Oh,
conversation.
absolutely. And you will be, because I don't want to blindside anybody on this. We did work on the emergency action plan for this complex. Scott Morgan did the basic plan and then gave it out to the operators to look at it and put their input into it. It's very well done. It's very thin. We've needed to do this for a couple years now, and we haven't gotten it off. It's a go-between between a COOP, the operational plan, the big operational plan, and an emergency plan just for quick emergencies that we can get people in and out of the building safety. So that'll be presented at a future meeting, and I think it'll be well worth it to adopt that at the future meeting. And we also will be teaching 4 classes this next year in safety training, so
Great.
doing pretty good.
Just to give the committee a heads up, Barbara and I have been working with at least 2 companies to do comparisons for health insurance. I hope to have some sort of update for you at the next meeting, hopefully. We are trying to look at a longer-term opportunity for the township, and also look at, hopefully, you know, overall savings by renewing possibly a little bit earlier than what we've done in the past. And so, not to get into details, but I just want to give you a heads up that within the next couple of weeks, we hope to be able to give you some premiums and where we're going to go with it from there. The only other thing I want to bring up, because there's been a lot of, at least, inquiries to the township and also to me. There was obviously a statement that came out from the Pinelands Commission on the gas pipeline, and there's some confusion because a number of people think that it was an automatic approval because the Pinelands Commission issued a certificate of filing. It is not an approval. Basically what it is it allows the South Jersey Gas Company to move forward with any other state, county, or municipal agencies that have to review the development plan. No permit has been issued. It is an approval to move forward, but it's not an overall approval, at least at this point, for the pipeline to be built. It's a step forward. And because of that, one of the things that we probably left out there a little bit because we didn't know where things were going was the discussion about the easement on township property for, I don't know if this is correct, the pumping station or whatever they want to call it, the loop.
It's an interconnect station.
Right. And I'm not sure if this is the appropriate time to bring it up or to consider it, but I do think it's important for this township committee to look at that, whether we decide to do it or not. It's gonna require an ordinance, and so that's a minimum of 30-day.
Well, we're still waiting because probably the redesign and the other approvals they had to get, we're still waiting for information and other data from South Jersey Gas. It was probably over a year ago that they first proposed
Right.
it, so the appraisal would probably have to be updated. We may want to get our own appraisal for it at that point. But they'll probably be in contact with us when they're at the right phase to move forward on that. I understand the committee has informally, at least the members of the committee at the time, has informally indicated they would look favorably upon introducing an ordinance and or any other appropriate procedure to process such a request. But we're not at that stage yet. I think we need some more information from South Jersey Gas.
Okay. I just want to make sure that if things progress, and I'm not suggesting that we're approving anything or I'm pushing anything, I just want to make sure that in the event that this process goes along, that in no way is the township something that could be a deterrent from the process moving forward if things progress, that's all.
Just as early as this week, I was talking to the lawyer for the South Jersey Gas, and that status remains the same. They're going to get in contact with us when they want to move forward. I think Paul had the same conversations with their engineer.
Okay. All right, so that was good information that was given by everyone. So let's move on to the resolutions.
Okay, item number 2, under resolutions, in observance of September 11th, as always Remember Day, to honor the innocent victims of September 11, 2001, and those who continue to fight for the freedom of this great nation.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is
And
carried.
I would add that I believe that the residents at Osprey Point are having a September 11th observance, and I believe that they've talked to some of the fire companies about coming as well, and that will be 10 o'clock on September 11th.
Item number 3, authorizing the mayor to sign a license agreement with New Jersey American Water Company for the installation of emergency communications equipment.
Move the resolution?
Second.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 4, appointing Water's Edge Environmental as an environmental consultant for the improvements associated with the replacement of the Bayview Avenue boat ramp.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 5, authorizing change order number 2 for the NJDOT Municipal Aid Project, reconstruction of Bayview Drive from north of Sumner Avenue to north of Webster Avenue, contract resulting in an increase in the amount of $20,894.70.
Move the resolution?
Second.
And this is, Paul, what we discussed at the last meeting.
Correct.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Mayor, if I could just add one point. At the last meeting, I think in my report, I had mentioned that all of the funds for that change order were to come out of the grant funding. I did a miscalculation with the grant and some of the we also had an escrow account from the New Jersey American Water Company to do some work. So there is some money that's gonna have to come out of the bond, and that was in the amount of $8,093.50. So there's a small portion of that change order that's gonna come out of the municipal bond, and there is sufficient funds in the bond to cover that roadway work.
Okay.
I just wanted that clarification since we talked last.
Item number 6, authorizing the mayor and township clerk to sign an agreement and bill of sale for the communications tower located at 1721 Mount Pleasant Road, Lot 12, Block 350, in Upper Township, New Jersey.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Just maybe by way of explanation, this is to confirm the township's ownership of that tower upon the termination of the lease that was on it previously. Obviously, we're going to be going out to bid for new license agreements for the antennas on the tower shortly. This obviously will be part of the bid package, the bill of sale.
Okay. Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 7, authorizing the execution of an NJDEP TWA1 application statements of consent form regarding 301 South Commonwealth Avenue, Strathmere, Block 838, Lot 2.
Move the resolution.
Second.
And Paul, this is just what they need so they can move forward with the permitting, is
Correct, and it's essentially a certification that the proposal meets all the township ordinances and zoning requirements. They did at last, when the zoning board come, they needed several setback and a coverage variance, and that was approved by the zoning board approval. So with the zoning board approval, it does, that project as presented to you meets all the township requirements.
okay? Call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion carried. Item number 8, renewal of alcoholic consumption licenses for the license year 2015.
I'll move the resolution.
Second.
Okay, and Barbara, everything's in that you require on your end?
Yes, everything is in that I require. You'll notice that we have all licenses, license renewals except for one business which is not up to speed with their paperwork. Hopefully at the next meeting we'll have that in.
Okay. So, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 9, authorizing the purchase of certain items for Amanda's Field from the 2013 capital improvement bond ordinance in the amount of $20,228.10.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Let's call the roll, please.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 10, adopting the rules and regulations for the use of township-owned circ chairs.
Move the resolution.
Second.
We discussed this at the last meeting. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 11, under ordinances, public hearing and final ordinance of ordinance number 11-2015, and ordinance amending revised general ordinance, chapter 8 of the Code of Upper Township. And this is a public hearing.
Okay, so before I open up to the public, and just for the public, this is with respect to a parking area for a handicap person.
And it also allows for parking on Vincent Avenue, that previously had no parking, so it's twofold.
So that's the area that used to have the water
Correct.
pumping station, that it's been expanded, is that?
Correct.
All right, so open it up to the public. Would anyone like to comment on the ordinance that allows for parking on Vincent Avenue as well as an additional handicap spot in Strathmere? Okay, let the record reflect that there was no public comment, so we'll close the public hearing portion and entertain a motion for adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Let's call the roll, please.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Would someone like to make a motion to pay the bills?
I hereby move that all claims submitted for payment at this meeting be approved and then incorporated into the full minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
There is one report of the municipal departments from the Division of EMS. That will be available upon request tomorrow at the clerk's office, but I'd like to make a motion to accept that report.
So moved.
Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Okay, we've reached the public comment portion. Would anyone like to address the Township Committee at this time? Very quiet out there tonight.
Nothing from Mr. Jones?
Maybe that's a good thing.
Michael?
Usually there's usually some rousing discussion, so. It doesn't appear that anyone this evening would like to address the Township Committee, so we'll close the public comment portion, and I'll pass it over to, do you have one more thing?
One more thing, yeah, and
Sure.
I forgot to report on it earlier. When we stopped by the rescue squad building, hopefully everybody's had a chance to go by and take a look at it. Almost looks like a new building sitting there. It's no longer an eyesore. We can be proud of where we have our emergency service people right now. So for now, it's a good move.
Good.
Jay, what do you think? Looks good, doesn't it?
Great. All right, so I'm going to ask Mr. Coggins to make a motion to go into executive session.
I hereby move that a resolution be incorporated into the minutes authorizing the Township Committee to enter into an executive session for the following matters pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act: contract negotiation for animal control, county fleet maintenance, Rutgers University of Marine and Coastal Sciences, and cell tower occupancy, litigation on affordable housing declaratory judgment, and Upper Township versus Yankin Sansone. I also include in my motion the estimated time and the circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public as follows. It is anticipated that the matters discussed in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Committee that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. With respect to contract negotiations, such matters will be made public when negotiations have ceased and there is no longer a reason for confidentiality. With respect to litigation matters, such discussions will be made public when litigation is complete and the applicable appeal period has expired.
Second. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Hope all of you have a great night,